Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Jack's Junkyard. I'm your host, Jack Kiesling. With me today, as always, is Peanut Number One, hashtag Shums. What up, Shums?
Hi.
Shums is camera shy today. On today's show, we're going to talk about a lot of cool stuff. We have a bunch of features lined up for you today. An exclusive interview with someone I have a tremendous amount of respect for. He's a musical juggernaut. The guy has so many talents, it's unbelievable. He is best known probably as the drummer extraordinaire from the Veer Union, but he is also involved in a ton of other acts. We'll give him an opportunity to tell you about those things in a moment. We also have Glass Helix, our good friends from last week's interview, back on stage on the Junkyard's Got Talent for a very special talent performance. We have a bunch of good news stories, we have some short story contest winners, and a whole bunch of other cool stuff lined up for you. Don't miss a minute of the show, folks. It's going to be awesome. All right. So before we get started, I try to stay line abreast of current issues facing our world. And one of the big things that's facing us right now is this divide that we seem to have, right? Well, I've said for a lot of years that art can be one of those things that heals us in times of pain, sadness, or divide. So let's talk about that. Recently, a band that I love called the Veer Union released a song called Slaves to the System. In the song and the music video that accompanies it, they deal with a lot of those topics that are causing us pain in society today. So, with that being said, I think it would be very appropriate to hear from one of the guys who was part of writing that song. Ladies and gentlemen, give us some hearts and some likes for Ricardo Viana. Good evening, Junkyard Interviews. I am Jack Kiesling. Tonight I'm sitting down with Ricardo Viana, who is the drummer for the Veer Union, amongst many, many other things. Very excited to have him on the show tonight. Ricardo, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey man, thank you for having me. My name is Ricardo Viana. I play drums in Veer Union, but I'm also a session musician. I play drums for a bunch of different acts and any really artist or band that needs a drummer locally or for touring.
You're a busy guy. In addition to the bands and the session recording, you're also part of BNHO. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's it's like a long distance recording project I have with my buddies from my old band from Mexico, where when we went to high school together, kind of thing, and we never really did anything original back then. We only played covers, but a few years ago we were like, hey, let's start writing some tunes and releasing them, and see what happens. So it's more of a passion project / see what happens kind of thing, but we're enjoying doing it, and I'm actually kind of like I put on like a producer / mixing hat for this project, because I also like mix and produce some of these songs. We kind of like have this deal where the songs I write, I produce and I mix, and the songs somebody else writes, they do the mixing and all that. So it's kind of like a combined effort, and yeah, we just trying to explore new things and learn new things, because there's just so much things you can do with music. It's like anything, right? So you just never stop learning. You just always try new things and just pushing yourself to get better at whatever you want to do, kind of thing. I mean, I also play in a punk band locally, but I did go to music school for 4 years, so I pretty much learned like most genres that are out there, drumming wise.
How did you really get your start in this passion of yours?
I mean, when I was, I think, around 7 years old, I think they put me, in piano lessons, which I hated at the time. I was like, I don't want to do this whatsoever. And so I think I had like 3 or 4 lessons, and I was like, it's not my thing, and I just didn't like it. And then I started playing guitar like later on, when I was around like 14 years old. And then after like a year later, I picked up drums, and I just kind of like dedicated myself more to it, and I went to school for it. I mean, I learned how to read notes and all that in school, but my instrument was percussion. So I kind of like left the guitar playing aside for a little bit, and I put more focus in just my time and effort to drumming kind of thing.
Now, you're originally from Mexico. You live in Canada now. That's a big
Mm.
switch. So how did that whole thing take place?
Well, I really wanted to move like away from the country since I was like really young. I was just kind of waiting to finish high school so I can, you know, well, that was what my dad told my brother and myself because I had a brother at some point and then he, fortunately, he passed away when I was like 18 and he was 17 in a car accident. But anyway, I was just like we just wanted to play music and we knew that the kind of music we like, it wasn't very popular in Mexico like at all. We like first we wanted to go to the States, but it was yeah, it still is easier for a Mexican person to move to Canada than it is to the States because the way they think about us, unfortunately.
Yeah,
But
not, for
but
sure.
so I did. I actually just I just kind of started. I just came here to learn English. That was my in kind of thing. But I knew I wanted to stay, and I was going to do whatever it took to stay. And I went through a lot of stuff, and I made it happen. And I'm happy to call Canada my home now, and I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way.
How do you get connected with Crispin Earl and those guys and get into the Veer Union?
Well, since I first moved up here, I just started right off the bat. I just went on. I was looking for on the newspaper section of like people looking for drummers or whatever. I just wanted to jam, so I started playing with everybody and anybody. And I was in a few bands that they kind of wanted to make it, but they didn't have the drive I was hoping. Because when you want to do something, you expect everybody to have the same kind of mindset, and I just couldn't find the right fit. And I know I've known Kristen and Ryan for I think Kristen for like maybe 10, 12 years now. But we were just friends. We would go out and party and whatnot. And I had my bands, my own project going on, and he had the Veer Union since forever. So we just kind of like never really crossed our minds to play together really until a few years ago when the drummer, I'm not sure what the real issue was, but I think he just couldn't make one tour they had booked, and he told me, and I would say a panic, but he was like, he really needed to, like someone to come out and fill in, or maybe join for the time being. So he was, hey man, you want to fill in? And I was like, sure. Surprised you didn't ask me earlier, and yeah, we did that one tour, and then we just like as a band. We were friends prior, so we kind of knew each other, but it's a complete like a shift, like just thinking you're friends with someone and then having to spend months on end trapped with them. It's a completely different. It's like being married to someone, because we are living together, we eat together, we go to work together, so it's worse than marriage, because you see them all the time.
Tell me about your thought process going into writing Slaves to the System and some of the signs that you guys held up during the video and all that stuff. What was that experience like for you?
Well, we just wanted to, it's funny because that song started being written way before COVID hit, and we actually weren't planning on releasing it when we did, but we were like, it's kind of funny because most people probably think that we kind of aimed the lyrics and the whole idea of the song is based on what is happening in the world right now, but we actually didn't. It just happened to fit with what was happening, and the video we kind of like aimed it a little bit towards just trying to bring everybody together. I'm Mexican, you can tell. Kristen's black and Ryan's white, so it's only a matter of time before we start making fun of each other because of our race, but we do it in a way just to celebrate each other's, race. It's not like we actually are putting them down. We're celebrating that we're all different. And
what has been your shining moment, your favorite moment in your career so far?
kind of hard to pick one. I mean, it's funny. Like when I was maybe like 10 years ago, it was kind of like cool at the point at that point in time because I actually joined like my old drum kit, the one I had before I got this kit from B Drum. I had I still have it. It's a PDP kit, but I actually won it in a concert that the band Drowning Pool put on, where you had to film yourself playing one of their songs, and I did, and I played bodies. That's what everyone knows, and that was my first song up there, so I did it, and it's funny because a friend of mine told me about the contest a day before it ended, so I just kind of like rushed and just played it, put a camera on, played it, and then I sent it, hoping for the best.
Sure.
And the drummer, he is the one who just Drowning Pool drummer. He picked the winner, and he picked me, and I won his kit, and it was like a brand new just PDC kit with all the hardware, all the cymbals, double kicks. So at that point, I felt like it was a dream, even though I just was doing what I loved, which is playing one of my favorite songs, and happened to like it, and I won a drum kit with it.
That's really cool. A lot of people talk about how much time you spend, on the floor talking with fans and stuff. What's that experience like for you, just having a ton of people be just amazed with you guys?
It's very humbling. I mean, I still feel, a little like awkward per se, or a little shy. It's just, when it's when we do make an effort to rush to the merch table as soon as we're done our sets, in order to like meet everybody and shake their hands. Hopefully we can do that sometime soon too. Lots of people like drive for hours to get to a city near them just to go see it. So I just would feel like a terrible person if I don't know, at least say them, to their face, like, thanks for coming out, and are you interested in any merch, or do you want a CD, and anything signed? Like, we'll happily go through everybody, as long as the line is, we'll go through it and shake everybody's hands and take pictures, or because they're there for us, so it would make sense if we're not there for them too,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I love that you said how humbling it is. It's really nice to hear that. We're just about out of time. I don't want to hold you over. Anything you want to talk about before we kick it off?
Just make sure you check out the band, check out our new single, and please follow us, and that helps a lot of bands now that we can't really tour. We just rely on all the streams and all the follows, and just people telling their friends about us, and it would really help us out if you go to Spotify or Instagram or everything out there and just give us a like and a follow and spread the word.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you very much for sitting down with me tonight, Ricardo. I know you're a busy guy. I'll let you get back to it. Hopefully we'll see you again in the future with the whole band, or maybe just you again. You're a good guest. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for having me, man. Pleasure.
Wow, man, what a cool experience it was to sit down with Ricardo and record that interview. So, man, a lot of people don't know this, but I actually, when I have guests on, I typically record for about 30 minutes, and we're just talking and having fun and enjoying conversation together. And then I edit that down to what you guys see on the show, to the 10-minute segment that it is. But there were so many awesome things that Ricardo said during that interview. It was so hard for me to edit it down to the length, and I still went over by a minute or two. So, and then I also want you guys to think for a second. You guys saw how he looked in that interview, right? He's got the jacket and the hair and the glasses and the whole thing. It looks super cool, right? But he looks awesome. Imagine how it felt for me, being this goofy dude from the mountains who writes books, when he pops up on the Zoom. And that's what I see. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm a fuzzy nerd. and you're really cool. And he is just an awesome guy, an incredible musician. For those that don't know, that's the guy that wrote and composed the theme song for Jack's Junkyard, and that you hear on a lot of my commercials for my books and stuff like that. He's just an incredible musician, a great guy, spends a ton of time talking to fans on social media and at his events. If you've never checked out the Veer Union, you need to. They're on all the streaming platforms, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, all of those. They're also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the social medias. So get out there and check out the Veer Union, and let them know they're awesome, because they are. So let's see a bunch of hearts popping in for Ricardo Vienna. All right. With that being said, in a moment, we're going to get an opportunity to explore some good things happening in our world. But before we get to that, here's some words from your local television station. Deanna Hawkins is a retired U.S. Army soldier and Medal of Honor recipient enjoying the quiet life of an artist in Portland, Oregon. Without her knowledge, documents proving diabolical manipulation of the American people, perpetrated by the government, fall into her lap. Forced to run for her life, Deanna must work with unlikely companions to deliver the files to the people. Sinister forces strive to stop her, while an unknown guardian angles for her success. This success could result in the Second American Civil War, while failure could cement the power of tyrants for generations to come. Under the weight of that knowledge, Deanna Hawkins will discover what it means to walk the thin red line between duty and death.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The News.
Good evening, America, and welcome to Junk in the News. I'm your evening news anchor, Jack Kiesling. Y'all are like, dude, we already know that. We're watching the show. Tracking. First story tonight, something really cool. The first person to cross the finish line at a race, not the only winner. Okay? Sometimes not the only winner. Let me introduce you to two young gentlemen. The gentleman that you see on the right, in the red, is a young man by the name of Levi LaGrange. Now, Levi is a sophomore in high school. He attends Western Boone High School. Okay, he was recently running a long-distance race for his school's long-distance team. He was a half mile from the finish when disaster struck. Unfortunately, young Levi took a false step and rolled his ankle. Very painful. If any of you have ever rolled your ankle, you know that is a bad deal. Okay, right behind him, in second place, was a high school senior who attends Sheridan High School, a young man by the name of Axel Ailman. Now, Mr. Axel could have easily seized this opportunity when Levi rolled his ankle to cruise past him and take the victory. He very easily could have done that. Half a mile from the end, he's in second place, no real challengers nearby. We got this, right? I'm going to win. But he didn't. He decided to do the right thing, to do something to serve a higher calling. He stopped, and he put his hand on young Levi's back, and he gave him the encouragement, the positive support necessary for young Levi to cross the finish line. He helped him all the way there. And he even made sure that Levi crossed the finish line first. Yeah? No doubt many other runners passed him along the way to the finish line. So not only did he give up a pretty sure victory, but he bumped that sure victory all the way down in the ranks. Okay? So, Mr. Ailman said that in that moment he knew helping Mr. LaGrange cross the finish line was more important than the race. Okay? He also said that when you're standing at a crossroad or running by it, you can choose the path of self-interest, or you can go the extra mile for someone in need. Words of wisdom, indeed. So, Mr. Ailman, Jack's Junkyard gives you an official tip of the cap. Well done. Keep doing awesome things. Young leader. Okay? Kindness like that, very important in our world today. Sometimes we see kindness like that from the little guys, the people who are out in the world just doing their life, right? But sometimes we need to see that from celebrities, people more well-known. We need to see that example. Well, a rock star you might have heard of before by the name of Dave Grohl has recently showed us exactly what that example looks like. Let's check it out. What you see on your screen is a young lady by the name of Nandi Bushnell. Now, she lives in England, and she's a huge rock music fan. She's a drummer in her own right. 10 years old, already very, very talented. You might have seen some of her videos on YouTube in the past. Goodness gracious. That burp courtesy of Ripid Energy Fuel. Anyway, so, you know, she's a big Dave Grohl fan, and she said one of her dreams was to play with Dave Grohl. So she made a video doing a drum cover of one of Dave Grohl's masterpieces, a song called Everlong that he recorded in 1997. She posted it up on the YouTube and the Twitter and all the things, tagged him in it, and said that she was challenging him to a drum competition. Now, many of you know, because who hasn't tried to contact a celebrity on social media before because you just think how cool it would be to talk to them? They never answer back, like ever, right? For real. I've been trying to talk to Taylor Swift for like 2 years. She ignores me forever. Okay? Anyway, Dave Grohl didn't take that route. No. Not only did he respond, but he borrowed his daughter Harper's drum set, okay? His daughter's drum set, and recorded himself doing a playthrough of Everlong. He said that he had not played that song since it was recorded in 1997. So maybe a little rusty there. Not only did he put up a video of him doing a playthrough of this song, and you can see Nandy watching that video in the image on your screen, but he also issued her a challenge. So now she is learning this song, Dead End Friends, by the Crooked Vultures, for round 2 of their drum competition. Super, super fun, right? This seems like a small thing. It seems like maybe a trivial thing, something silly. But I guarantee for that little girl, this experience is a huge inspiration that she's going to be able to use in her career, in her life moving forward to keep fuel for the passion, okay? Guys like Ricardo Vienna make it seem like an easy thing, right? To be professional musicians, but it's not. It takes hours and hours and hours and hours and weeks and days and years of practice to be successful and proficient in art forms like that. No matter how good she is, at some point, Nandy is going to hit that wall where it's hard. Well, hopefully, this moment in time and the moments she is sure to share in the future with Dave Grohl will keep that inspiration alive and help her keep pushing to reach the dream and the goal. Speaking of inspiring children and people who definitely need it, let's meet a young couple who chose to take their wedding celebration, destroyed by COVID, and turn it into something awesome. The folks that you see on screen are Melanie and Tyler Tapina. Now, these beautiful people were about to get married, and COVID wrecked everything. Not an unfamiliar story. Okay? They had to cancel their wedding reception because of COVID. Rather than go to their caterer and try to get a refund and do all of those things, they chose to use that moment in time to do something amazing. Okay? So they had their wedding ceremony, very small, intimate ceremony with their friends and close friends, or friends and close family. Then they took all of the budget from their catering and had their caterer turn that into meals for a local homeless shelter. So after their ceremony, they went over to a shelter in Parma, Ohio, which is where they live. The shelter is called Laura's Home. It's a home for women and children. And not only did they donate all of that money, in the form of meals to the shelter, but they also went there on their wedding day, and as you can see in the images, in full wedding regalia, the dress, the tuxedo, all of it, jumped behind the service line and served all of these people. Now, any of you who've ever been married know that a catering budget for a wedding is no small thing. What's really cool is the money that they, in effect, donated is feeding this shelter for several days. Really, really cool. So the couple said of their day that the best part of their whole special day was the smiles that it brought, and not just to the people who live in the shelter, but to the workers, to the caterers, to everyone who was involved in this thing. That's really amazing. Okay? I had an opportunity to speak with Miss Melanie directly this afternoon because I didn't know how to pronounce her last name, so I reached out to her and asked. Okay? And she made it a point in that conversation, very, very brief conversation, but she made it a point to indicate how desperately the world needs messages of kindness today. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. When I look at these pictures of this beautiful couple who chose to take a pretty bad situation and turn it into something amazing, not just for them, but for, hundreds of people. That to me is what love is all about, and how amazing for their marriage to have the moment that it begins be born out of care and compassion and generosity for people they don't even know. A very, very big tip of the cap from Jack's Junkyard to Tyler and Melanie. Amazing stuff. Okay. A tip of the cap. A tip. So, okay, the tip of the cap came because I have been saying a hats off, but as you have noticed, my hair looks ridiculous. Ridiculous.
And that's why you showed it on camera again.
They deserve to know.
Yeah, I know, but if you're going to change it and say tip of the cat instead of hats off because you didn't want to show them your hair, then why would you still show them your hair?
I'm not a smart man. I don't know why you asked me. Yes, Matt, 2 claps and a Ric Flair. That's what we need to do. Okay, let's talk about 2 claps and a Ric. You know what? We'll talk about that in a minute. Hang on, Matt. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Okay? Nevertheless, Tyler, Melanie, you're awesome. You're amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah. I try to be professional in the news segments and I always fail. All right, stand by for these words from your local station. The Fists of Arkan is the debut novel by author Jack Kiesling. Action, adventure, and personal challenges are the focal point of this immersive book set against a backdrop of war. Deep character development and wide perspectives explore social issues relevant to the real world. Dive in and discover the answer to the age-old question faced by leaders many. What kind of royal will you be? This is a paid advertisement for Jack Kiesling Books and the Fist of Arkan. All right, welcome back. Let's talk about what's up in Arkan. Before we get to that, I need to talk about 2 claps and a Ric Flair. So many of you know that I teach for a living. I teach adults, and it's awesome. It's super, super fun. It's a rewarding experience. Well, it's been a long time now, probably a year ago. I had a participant in one of my classes, crazy cool guy named Chris Harris. And Chris Harris does this thing. He's done this thing his whole life that anytime he wants a motivating response, he says, "Give me 2 claps and a Ric Flair." And then everybody in the room goes, "Woo!" Right? I saw it. I loved it. I stole it. I've used it in almost every class I've facilitated since then. And so Matt Healy was in one of those classes that I facilitated, and it caught on in that class like crazy. And now like a lot of them are out in the business and in the world doing it as well. And I love that. So maybe that's what we'll do from now on. When somebody does something awesome on the show, we'll do 2 claps and a Ric Flair, right? And then you guys at home, when I say 2 claps and a Ric Flair, you can all be like, "Woo!" Right? None of you are going to do that, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Kelly. Yeah, so Chris Golick said, "What about two snaps in a circle?" I'm looking at your perspective, but you're wrong, right? It's not enough. It's got to have 2 claps and a Ric Flair, right? All right. No, if you want to do that on your show, do that on your own show, Chris. Okay? So anyway, 2 claps and a Ric Flair. Many of you might have noticed there's an addition to the graphics on the show. Huh? Look down at the bottom of your screen right now. What do you see? Officially powered by Rip It Energy Fuel. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Jack's Junkyard is now officially powered by Rip It Energy Fuel. You're seeing this in my hand right here. This is the Rip It Tribute, the cherry limeade, and it is delicious. It is fantastic. And it gives me all the energy I need to get through this broadcast and to deal with Shums when she nags me about stuff. And it's awesome, right? So if you've never had a Rip It, it is very, very fond in the hearts of veterans because it's supplied to us in the chow halls overseas. Everybody loves Rip It. And you can get it in the States all over the place. You can get it from Rip It directly. You can order it off their website. And every month they put out a promotional code for free shipping. So yeah, go check them out on all the social medias. They also post a lot of really cool stuff. Like they're a pretty neat company. So go check out Rip It Energy Fuel, the official energy supplier of Jack's Junkyard.
You need a Rip It to get through nagging by Shums, even though Shums doesn't get to Rip It for you.
Why do I invite you to these things? All right. So as far as what's going on in my current projects, many of you know that I'm doing a second edition of the Fists of Arkan, just cleaning it up, blah, 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 blah. I've talked about it every week for like the last 5 weeks. I'm making a lot of progress on it. This week has been very, very busy for me. recorded 2 interviews this week, set up a couple more, and work and everything else. But I did spend a lot of time working on the second edition of the book as well. I think you guys are going to be really happy with it. It's streamlined. So many of you remember that first chapter in the book. Man, it was long. And I don't think I ever realized how long it was until after I published it. And then I was reading it with Shums over here, and I was like, "Gads, this thing is a mile long!" Right? So I've taken out a lot of the unnecessary verbiage in that first chapter, and I'm just cleaning up the language and the rest of it. So it's going to be a really nice finished project. Again, if you've already purchased the Fist of Arkan, please don't feel obligated to buy the second edition. The characters, the story, the plot lines, none of that's going to change. It's just cleaning it up a little bit, making it a little bit more streamlined, especially with all the lessons I've learned about editing since I published that work. So it's coming along nicely. I don't know, probably 3-4 weeks and I'll have it done. And then I'll get on to the next project, which is to begin drafting out the Tears of Arkan, which will be the next novel coming out of Arkan Forge Productions. So yeah, it's fun stuff, man. It's been a cool week. Obviously, I got to sit down with Ricardo Vienna, who is an awesome guy. We had a ton of fun talking. And you guys didn't get to see it in the video, I don't think, but his dog was running around the whole time too. It was awesome. Yeah, it was super fun. It just felt like, chilling with somebody that I've known for a while. It was great. And then I also interviewed next week's guests for the show, which I'm not going to give it away who it is just yet, but you're really going to want to see that interview. It's amazing. It's super funny. It's awesome. And I've got more lined up, man. It's coming along. The show is so much fun, but man, it takes a lot of work to run this thing. So if you guys are out there and you're like, man, this looks cool, I want to do this. Yeah, hit me up. I can walk you through the tech. I can walk you through a lot of things that need to happen to produce a show like this. I have no problem sharing that. So that's happened a couple times over the last week, and I get these messages, and it's like these people really sheepishly wanting to know how I do what I do. And I'm like, dude, just ask me, man. I'm not going to bite your head off. It's not a secret. I'm not going to not share it, right? So what is your problem? Alright, so anyway, so that's what's up in Arkan. Now, enough talking about my work. Let's talk about somebody else's writing. Alright, the winner of the short story contest from last week. Very excited to announce Chris Gulick with win number 2. Alright, so Chris wrote a short story based on the title, The Last Moment of Childhood, and he had the time that I looked at it before we started running up the encoder. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted by Chris's comment. By the time I started running up the encoder, the short story with the most votes or the most reactions was Chris's. So let's take a look at the world that Chris Gulick created for The Last Moment of Childhood. I can't believe it has been over 30 years. I remember it like it was yesterday, sitting on that hill overlooking the city and contemplating what I had done. I led what I felt was a normal childhood. I was only a child. Maybe that played a role in what I had done. Who knows? If I'd had a brother or a sister, maybe that may have made a difference. I had just walked in the door home from high school band practice when I heard what I always hear. My parents arguing over some small, insignificant issue. My mom was, as always, drunk, and my dad knew how to push her buttons. This was common. Almost every night they would argue. As always, I would ignore it, go down to my room, slam the door, and turn up my record player full blast to drown out the noise. I still remember the album playing. However, tonight was different. The house had a different heaviness. The argument was more intense. Something wasn't the same. I could hear my dad calling my mom a slut and a whore, and how she was worthless and a worthless mother to her son. I could hear my mom throwing glasses and bottles. I hear so many hit the wall and the floor. I hear Mom accuse Dad of cheating on her with the women he worked with. This fight was different than the others. Even with my record player pulled up, I heard it all, and I was getting scared and angry. This went on for an hour, then it stopped very abruptly. I figured it was over, and Mom had just gone to bed, as that's what usually happens. I opened my door to go get a bowl of cereal. And that's when I saw my mum sitting on the couch, with a large cut on her face, and Dad with a look I'd never seen before. They both looked at me, with an expression that said, "Go back to your room." I was so angry as I slowly realized Dad hit Mum. I nearly lost it. It's like everything stopped and I tried to comprehend what was happening. I don't remember what happened next. I just remember the lights and sounds of the sirens as the cops forced our front door open, telling me to drop the weapon. There is now a bench on this hill. I come to it every year on the first weekend in October to sit and reflect and remember the very last moment of childhood. Man. Awesome story, Chris. Awesome story. I can see why you won that one. Really, really cool, man. Yeah. Shums, your impressions?
He did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he did. Yeah. Yeah. The subject of this story straight out killed his dad. Crack, crack. Whatever they used, right?
He did.
Yeah, oh, he did.
Oh, he did.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, it's interesting, right? It's a very interesting story. I didn't quite know where it was going until like you see the cut on the mom's face, and I was like, oh, I know where this is gonna go, right? Great story, Chris. Very well crafted, well written, very descriptive. I love it. Absolutely fantastic. I think that's win number 2 for Chris. Really cool. Yeah. Shout out to Sherry Maccabee, who also submitted a story that was very good. It's very interesting subject matter. Check that out on the original posts on Facebook, and you can read her story as well. Okay? For next week's short story, the title will be Tension in Suburbia. Okay? So if you've never participated in the contest before, you've never seen the show before, all you have to do is write a short story. Try to keep it under 1,000 words, please. Write a short story based off the title, Tension in Suburbia. You're going to drop that story in the comments on the post that'll come up after the show that'll say contest alert on it, okay? Drop that short story in the comments. At the end of the week, at the time I fire up the encoder for next week's show, the short story submission with the most reactions, so likes, hearts, angry faces, whatever, with the most reactions will get read out loud on the show and then featured on my website, jackkiesling.com, for a week. All right? And Shums says she's going to do a haiku. Now, I've never seen her write a haiku before, so it could be amazing.
It's going to be real short.
It could be terrible. Either way, it's going to be fun. All right? So, yeah, look out for that post. Submit your short stories. Super, super fun. The short story ties in with the first one. I figured, Chris. I figured. I'm very interested to see if you keep going with this theme that you've got rocking here. Anyway. Thank you so much for everyone who has submitted short stories in the past and everyone who submitted this week as well. But congratulations to Chris. Let's see what happens. Can he keep his win? Right? Can he defend his current title? Let's see. Find out next week. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Junkyard's Got Talent. Now, let me tell you, recently my wife and I have started this thing where right before bed we watch video clips of really bad American Idol, America's Got Talent, X Factor auditions, stuff like that, right? Watch compilation videos of them. They're really, really funny. And here's what I know for sure. I have not yet had one contestant featured in the Junkyard's Got Talent that is nearly as bad as almost all of the ones that we have seen from all those other shows. So what that tells me is you all are very, very talented. For tonight's guest, very, very excited to share with you this video submitted to us by some friends that we saw on the show last week. We saw their frontman on the show last week in Junkyard Interviews, a man named Thomas Hamrell, and his band, Glass Helix, is called to the stage now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hit that like and that heart button as many times as you possibly can for Glass Helix. What an awesome video. Okay, so let's talk about this for a second before we give the chuckleheads a chance to chime in with their opinion. Yeah, great video. Okay, so we're not talking like a high dollar Hollywood production here, right? Yeah, I get it. There's music videos out there that are unbelievable, right? Like Taylor Swift cuts the wing off of an airplane in a video, and it's like, oh my god, how did you afford to do that? Yeah, this is not what this is. This is a music video literally made by the band, and it feels so much more authentic to me that way, right? It feels more impactful, and it matters so much more, right? It's very important to think about that in terms of art. Where did it come from? How many hands were involved in filtering it, right? Just like we talk about Instagram filters. How many filters did you use on your Instagram photo to make it look that good? I feel this. Yeah, so do I. That's not the point. Right? But the point is, I'm ugly. I have to use Instagram filters. Okay, come on. But the point is, art is so much more impactful when it hasn't been filtered through 17 different perspectives. There's another burp powered by Ripon Energy. Anyway, and so that authenticity and that power behind the art is so much more tangible in this video. The song itself is unbelievable. I think it's very applicable to the world that we're in today. The vocal delivery is incredible. The drummer is awesome. There's, that goofy guitarist is okay. I think they should replace him with a Casio keyboard. You'll have to tune in next week to find out why that's really funny. All right. Anyway, so thank you so much for Glass Helix for submitting that video. Now let's check in with the chuckleheads. All right, chucklehead number 1, Simon. What do you think? Is it a yes? Oh yes, quite right. It's a yes for me because I love rock and roll and hippity hoppity and all that stuff. All right, Simon, you're old and you're British. Go away. Hippity hoppity. Demi Lovato, your thoughts? Oh boy. I can't break from the Mickey Mouse voice for her. Oh boy, Pluto, I love metal music. It's a yes. I like Demi Lovato too. That's not the point. Kelly Rowland, your thoughts? Nothing? 2 weeks in a row. Kelly Rowland has nothing to say because I like looking at you. Kelly Rowland, nothing to say 2 weeks in a row. All right then. Peanut number 1, your thoughts? Speak loudly. It's good. I also agree. Definitely awesome. Very much looking forward to seeing Glass Helix compete in the playoffs for the Junkyard's Got Talent Championship later on this year. Deanna Hawkins is a retired U.S. Army soldier and Medal of Honor recipient enjoying the quiet life of an artist in Portland, Oregon. Without her knowledge, documents proving diabolical manipulation of the American people, perpetrated by the government, fall into her lap. Forced to run for her life, Deanna must work with unlikely companions to deliver the files to the people. Sinister forces strive to stop her, while an unknown guardian angles for her success. This success could result in the Second American Civil War, while failure could cement the power of tyrants for generations to come. Under the weight of that knowledge, Deanna Hawkins will discover what it means to walk the thin red line between duty and death. Still the end of the world, right? COVID, craziness, still the end of the world. What are we going to do? Excitement, right? Well, hate to break it to you, it's not the end of the world. It's not. The world's not going to end, okay? There's a problem with the idea that we're faced with the end of the world right now, and here's the problem. When we decide that this is the end of the world, like that this is the end of society and life as we know it, that takes off all of the onus for us to make changes in the world, yeah? Because if it's just going to fall apart anyway, who cares what happens? Wrong. This is not the end of the world. This is not the roughest time that has ever happened in our country, right? This is not the most challenging things that we have ever faced as a nation or as a globe. We've been through pandemics that were way worse than COVID before, right? We've been through civil unrest. We've been through civil wars. We've been through a lot of stuff. as a human race and existence? Well, this isn't going to be our extinction event. Nothing that's happening right now is going to take us out. What that means is that if there's something wrong in the world that you see, do something about it. Yeah? Do something about it. Okay? It really bothers me. I look on social media. Social media is just, it's really troubling for me. I see some amazing things on there, but I also see a lot of things that really make me go, what? What? Okay? The number of people who are like, the world's over anyway, who cares? What? What do you mean, who cares? That is the essence of the problem, is that lackadaisical attitude. Everybody's like, it's not my problem, I'm not going to deal with it. Wrong. Okay? If it affects your fellow man, it affects you. Period. That's what it is. If it affects your fellow man, it affects you. If it affects your fellow man positively, celebrate. For the human beings around you who are enjoying positive circumstances, celebrate. If it affects your fellow man negatively, do something to help him or her overcome the challenges in front of them. That's what it means to be a decent human being, right? Just like we saw in the news stories, right? Yeah. Young Axel Edelman put his hand on his fellow's back and helped him finish the race. He didn't have to do that. He could have left him there, but he didn't. Right? And Melanie and Tyler chose to take an unfortunate circumstance and turn it into something positive for a lot of people. That's what it takes to make this world a better place. It's so easy to sit back and be like, it's not my problem. It was not Axel Edelman's problem that Levi LaGrange hurt his ankle. It's not his problem. It wasn't his fault. He didn't cause it. He didn't wish a wish upon a magical star for his competition to break their ankle, I hope. Wasn't his problem. Wasn't his responsibility. But he didn't say, it's not my problem. Yeah. The overpopulation in homeless shelters and the lack of resources in shelters is not Melanie and Tyler's problem. It's not. It's not their fault. It's not their problem. They didn't do anything to cause it to be that way. In fact, we know, because anytime you get out and, in the world, people research you like crazy, that couple has already been involved in a ton of charitable giving. Right? So they didn't do anything to cause it, and they had already done a lot to positively influence the world. Not their problem. But they didn't look at it and say it's not our problem. They chose to do something about it. Dude, what are you doing to me?
I'm pacing your dog.
Okay, so, guys, my wife is taking fur of the dog and piling it on my arm.
It's gotta go somewhere.
Not on me! What is wrong with you? She gets mad because I typed in her chat on her Zoom rehearsal. She's piling fur on me.
Those are very different things.
They are not, madam. Anyway, but that's the whole point, right? Like, you can't just look at what's going on in the world and be like, not my problem. You can't do that. You have to do something about it. You have to. Everybody has to do something about it. Because I'm telling you, as soon as we stop accepting, not my problem, and we start proactively taking steps to fix the challenges that our fellow human beings are facing, the number of those challenges goes down significantly, and this whole journey, this whole adventure through life gets infinitely better for everyone. Yeah. Okay, so you're sitting there and you're like, I'm not black. It's not my problem. Oh, okay. But imagine this. What positive things would happen in your life if people of color weren't oppressed or discriminated against? Well, chances are positivity breeds positivity, so the world around you becomes brighter. More people from impoverished communities, from secondary, what is the word? Marginalized groups become inspired and have the tools and resources necessary to go out and chase their dreams, which creates more beautiful things in the world, more art, more fantastic movies, more music, more everything. That gets better. Some of those people become architects and build buildings that we've never even thought of. Some of those people design the next generation of electric cars. Some of those people reach for the stars and grab more of them than you think they will. Okay? But they won't get there if we as a society don't tell them we believe in them. Right? So when you choose to do something about that issue, maybe you don't see how it's going to benefit you or how it affects you, but it does. It does. right? I've told the story a million times. I probably would never have published The Fists of Arkan if it wasn't for my dad and a small group of test readers very early in the process. Yeah. Because my dad read the first chapter and he was like, I love this. I need more. You need to do this. And a small group of test readers read the first 20 chapters and came back and said the same thing. That's why it exists. That novel and everything I've done since then, including this show, is because of 11 people. That's it. So what would happen to our world if we chose to look at the situation that we're faced with and say, it is my problem. It is my problem, and I'm going to do something positive about it. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go out and protest if that's not your thing, right? I'm not saying that you have to give up everything you own. I'm not saying that you have to, tattoo BLM on your face. That's not what I'm saying. But find how you can positively contribute to whatever is going on around you. Whether it's homelessness or poverty or discrimination or, hatred or anything, right? Economic disaster or actual disaster following a hurricane or, a tornado or a derecho or whatever ripped through Iowa, right? Whatever it is. Jen, here's looking at you, right? Whatever it is. Find ways to positively interject yourself into the challenges faced by your fellow human being, and this whole thing gets a lot better. And then it's not the end of the world. It's not. We have to live with this, right? If you're like me, pretty young person, and you're looking at the world ahead, I don't want to live in this anymore. I don't. I don't want to adopt my daughters in a couple of years and have to raise them in a world that hates each other. I don't want that. But if that's going to change, I have to own it. I have to own that change. And so do all of you. It is what it is, right? Everybody's dealt different hands. The generation born in, the late 1920s, the hand they were dealt was the Great Depression and then World War II. We don't have it that bad. That's not the hand we were dealt. So if you're sitting there looking at it with this nihilistic attitude and just fix yourself. Get your head back in the game. Hands into the center, kids. It's time to make a difference in the world. All right? That's my rant for today. I know I keep saying I'm not going to do any more rants on the show. That's not what I want it to be. But we need to grab onto the positivity that we can bring into this world. We have to. Otherwise, it's never going to change. And that's okay. If that's what you want. But just recognize that when the rest of us cause a revolution and change the world, and you're sitting there going, wow, that's pretty cool. Just know, it wasn't you. Okay? That's all I got for the end of the world today. All right. We have now reached the part of the show where you get to ask me questions about anything that you want, anything at all. While you guys are putting your questions into chats, right? Let's talk about this image that you see on your screen right here. So this really cool thing is the new Cheetos mac and cheese. Now, my wife and I have sampled all 3 flavors now. We've eaten the original and the jalapeno mac and cheese twice. We've only had the Flamin' Hot once because we've only found it in the store once. But that's okay. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It literally tastes like eating Cheetos, but it's pasta.
But mac and cheese.
But mac and cheese. Yeah, it's delicious. I love it. Shums, your thoughts on the mac and cheese?
It's good.
It's good. Yeah, and I know it's good because this chick inhales it. Like, I put the bowl down and she's like, whoa! I've only ever seen her do that to burritos.
We demand bigger boxes.
Yeah, for real, we demand bigger boxes, right? Like, neither one of us are big people, okay? Like, I'm 6 feet tall, but I'm only like 185 pounds. And she's tiny, right? But we eat 2 boxes at a time.
Yeah.
And then I want more.
Cheetos has to listen to our terms and conditions.
Yeah, listen, Cheetos, mac and cheese, you need to update yourself
These
and
are
bigger
demands.
Boxes. Yeah. Gary Marion is watching the show. What's up, Gary? Welcome. Love that guy. Yeah, Jen, jalapeno is awesome. I really like the Flamin' Hot, but we didn't get it in the box. We got it in a little microwavable cup.
Because that's all they had.
Because that's all they had. And it wasn't as good. So hopefully the box version of the Flamin' Hot's better, but jalapeno is by far my favorite so far.
But it was hot.
It wasn't, but that's okay.
It was like Cheeto hot, though.
Huh, no Cheetos fingers. That's kind of lame.
Yeah,
I don't agree
you know
with that.
No, you know what it tastes like?
It tastes like Cheetos fingers.
Yeah, that's exactly what it
Dude,
tastes like.
Stop breaking stuff
Like,
in my office.
You're eating the whole bag, and you're like inhaling it, right? And your tongue's on fire, and then you have to like let the tongue settle, so then you can lick the fingers, and then it's like more power in each finger. That's what the Cheetos taste like. Is like you're licking the fingers.
Yeah. It's like Cheetos fingers with pasta.
Yeah, that's what it is.
A+. Good work. Good work, Cheetos guys. You did good. Oh, I just did the wrong thing. Ooh. Bye-bye, Cheetos.
That Tiff Bear sessions is hilarious.
Did she now? Let's take a look at some of these comments. There are a bunch of them. Let's peruse some commentage here.
Yeah, slacker.
Oh, that's really nice there, Sherry. Hope everyone has a safe and enjoyable holiday weekend. Thank you to all who are and have served our country. Very nice. It's not my fault I didn't vote. Brandon totally distracted me. Well, we all know Brandon's a troublemaker. This is not new information. What?
The little thingy fell on top of Moose's bone, and now he's trying to figure out how to get it.
Aww. He looks so sad and pitiful.
But all he has to do is move it.
Yeah, but he's not smart. Ryan, thank you so much. Ryan Hemhauser said the show looks amazing. That's awesome. He also said that he just finished A Thin Red Line. Thank you, man. I'm so glad that you read the book. You gotta let me know what you think about it, for real. Like, I really want the feedback. Okay? And then we had a whole conversation about why my eyes look dark in the Ricardo Vienna interview. I wasn't wearing my glasses. Maybe that has something to do with it. I've also been playing with lighting setup in my office a lot too, trying to make the lighting look better, because it seems like I just get it figured out and then I get washed out and it's a mess. So, hey, Aaron, what's up, man? My afternoon is very well. Glad to see you on the show. Where do the onions come from?
It's
Chris,
because it was when you were telling a story that was sad.
Did I tell a sad story?
Well, maybe more like a cry story. I remember it, and I remember thinking, what? And then I said, oh no, I get it. He was crying, and he said, where did the onions come from? Because he's trying to blame it on something else.
No, yeah, I understand that, but what did I say that was sad?
It was probably like the news teen years, auntie. When you're like, oh, they're so sweet. It's a cry.
I don't know.
I remember. It was appropriate.
All right.
You, Chris.
I mean, Chris is always like clutch with the comments, but so guys, I'm working on something right now that will return your comments to the screen so that everyone will see the comments. I'll see them a lot more often during the show. So just give me some time to work that out. It was the race story. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, see? At least some of us are paying attention.
It's the end of the world, not because of COVID, but because I have a hawk and I'm going down a metal rabbit hole. Yeah. So, yeah, you know, it's been really interesting. Chris has gone down the metal music rabbit hole of late. And, yeah, I don't know if he'll ever come back. Yeah. So I keep introducing him to new bands. He was jamming, he's jamming the Veer Union. He was jamming Woven War the other day, which is a band that I absolutely love. I absolutely love that band. Yeah, of course he's jamming Glass Helix. It was actually Chris's fault that I found out about Glass Helix in the first place. But yeah, and I keep giving him more and more metal bands to listen to, and it's just awesome watching somebody have that exploration of the music genre and stuff. It's just super, super cool. So anyway, so there are 7 of you on the show right now. We'll be online for another 10 minutes or so. So drop your questions in the chat and we'll have a discuss. Yeah, about anything you want to talk about. Bear in mind, I'm probably going to delete this segment from the show. Yeah. So we'll talk about that more later on, but I am strongly considering deleting this segment from the show for a number of reasons. So, yeah. Have fun with that thought.
Would you rather be a fruit or a vegetable?
Okay. My knee-jerk reaction is to say fruit because I like fruit. And I really like the idea that like when fruit dies, right? When it's eaten or whatever, it leaves its seeds behind to grow into new plants. I think that's really cool. But on the other hand, if I was a vegetable, it'd be way less likely that people would eat me. Oh.
See, I'd say I would want to be a vegetable, but I'm probably more of a fruit.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because I'm sugar.
Jill Coleman is watching the show. Thanks, man. Thanks for tuning in.
Because I'm sweet.
Catching us at the end, but that's okay.
Because I'm sweet.
Yeah, you are sweet. Yeah. Sweet as candy. So sweet, she'll rot your teeth right out. Fun stuff. Boo for realsies. That just crapped on my day. What?
Because you just said that you were thinking about deleting the AMA.
Yeah, but look, guys, here's why. Actually, let me answer Jeebus's question real quick. Jeebus says, how are the puppies doing? They're awesome. They're awesome.
Moose got his bone.
Moose got his bone out from under the document holder that it was trapped under, which he trapped it under.
Now he's in the living room chewing.
Yep, now they're out in the living room. Yeah. It's been crazy. So, like, you know, Shums is working on this cool project, but it's primarily over Zoom. So, lately, when I get home from work, she's already upstairs, like, locked herself in the bedroom. We had to move her desk and computer upstairs. I now have this Cat 6 cable running from the Wi-Fi router, which is behind me. It's like, it goes under the carpet, and then it goes along the walls, and it goes, like, up the wall and around the banister or whatever, for the staircase, and like it's just crazy. And then it goes like into our bedroom and back under the carpet, and so we have this Cat 6 cable running through the house because all of her stuff is upstairs. So like I get home, she's already on Zoom. The door's closed, the dogs are trapped outside. I come into my office, sit down and work. I let the dogs out and give them dinner and all that stuff, right? If she hasn't already given them dinner. And then I sit down and like both of us are basically on the computer until 10:30 at night. Yep. And what's funny is I've always thought the dogs love me more, right? Because they used to. Yeah. Lulu used to be my girl. Like, she's been my dog forever, right? Forever. Had her since she was a pup. And she's always been my dog. Until she met Shums. Yeah. Then we got Moose. And at first, Moose loved me more. And it was awesome. Because I already felt like Lulu was a traitor. But then Moose loved me more. And it was great. But now, when we're both home, we're both on Zoom, she's upstairs with the door shut. I'm in the office with the door wide open. Where are the pups? Are they in here with me? No. They're laying in the hallway outside the bedroom door because they want their mommy.
When I also have the
bastards. Yeah, and then the cat goes up and hangs out with her too.
Well, he makes many appearances on my Zoom calls.
Yeah, all he does is show his butthole to everybody you're on Zoom with.
Yeah, and then get upset because I won't let him in the blanket because I'm working.
Yep. So that's how the puppies are doing. Little fuzzy bastards.
I know them.
Yeah. Fun stuff. Alright, guys. 5 more minutes. Come on. Somebody's got to have a question. Drop it in there. And with all the segments and stuff, the show feels so much faster. Like, I look at, like, we finished the last segment, and I look at the clock, and I'm like, wow, we are at 1 hour right now. It goes by so fast now. It used to, like, you remember when I first started this thing, it was 2 hours. Like, when I first started doing, back then I called it Chat with Jack. It was a really creative name, right?
I liked it.
Yeah, no, it was fun. It was fun, but it's a bad name. But, I used to do it for 2 hours, and I would sit here, and there was no visuals, there was no graphics, there was no scene changes, nothing. It was just literally me with my cell phone propped up on Facebook Live, and I would talk for 2 hours. And it was fun. Like, we had a lot of fun. The, like, 3 people that were, tuned in back then. And now the show is only supposed to run for 1 hour. But, I mean, there's all this tech behind it and all this stuff that goes on during the show. And it goes by so fast. And I can't imagine trying to do it for 2 hours anymore. Lacey, give me my pillow and get rid of all these hospital pillows. I think Lacey's back in the hospital. Yikes. So what we're talking about right now is one of the 2 of the people on the planet that are closest to my heart, is Mike and Lacey. I love them both to death until the very end of all things. And I was blessed to officiate their wedding. Their daughter was born on my birthday. She's my sacred buddy. I love them. Well, they are... These pillows are as flat as boob cakes.
I believe it.
Oh my god, Lacey, I love you so much.
When you first said that, when I read it, I thought it said blob.
It says boob cakes.
I like a better blob.
But anyway, so they are pregnant with their second daughter, but she has spina bifida, and so they went in and had an in utero surgery done to help baby, which is very, very scary. And I feel like Lacey's got to be back in the hospital, which is.
He texted me already.
Oh, he texted you.
Yeah, I guess he loves me more than you.
Oh, he probably texted me, but I'm on the show.
That hurts, babe.
Yeah, it does. Anyway.
Is it bad that when he texts both of us, I have to grab your phone to see what time he texted you and what time he texted me?
Yeah, she gets super jelly when our friends text me first.
Which
Which most
sense.
of them do.
No, because it makes sense because I never answer.
Exactly. They text me first because she is the worst texter on the planet. But anyway, so Lacey's back in the hospital. That's not good. So let's hammer that heart button for Mike and Lacey and for their baby girl. Yeah?
Baby.
Yeah, do that. Anyway, in all fairness,
and hope
I knew.
That Lacey gets better pillows.
Yeah, better pillows for real. No more boob cakes. In all fairness, I knew and loved you first, but as I get to know her, I feel like Shums and I have more in common. Listen, Tiffers. When you get one of the kisslings, you get us all, okay? Okay? You get us all.
We are a package deal.
We are a package deal, okay?
Okay.
Don't you be trying to split up the package, okay? Also, for those of you who are upset about that accent, that was Ricky Ricardo from I Love Lucy, so settle down. Oh my goodness.
You got some splaining to do?
You know, it's funny because I walked in the living room the other day and Moose had the curtain, like the curtain from our sliding glass door in his mouth. And I walked in and I put my hands on my hips and I said, Moosey, you got some splaining to do? And you know what he did? Spit it out. And he was like, no, don't give me the accent. Hi, buddy. Yeah. She says, Tiffer says, deal. Oh my goodness.
Oh my god.
This dog is going bonkers right now. And that's how we know when it's time to finish the show is when Moose goes crazy.
Me off the chair.
Don't knock your mother down. What's wrong with you? Hit him back. Moosey bit my finger. Oh my goodness. Alright.
That's
Ow!
how we know at the end
Hi,
of
buddy.
the show, Shumble gets hurt.
Yep. Hi, buddy. Aw, tend to, Moose. No, you can't be on the desk, crazy man. You can climb, but you can't be on me. Or I mean on the desk. No, you can't steal my Rippet either. God, can you imagine this dog on caffeine? We'd never catch him. Hi, baby boy. Well, there's so many riveting questions coming in. We'll give you like another 60 seconds if anybody's got any questions. Just type it in, right? Drop it in the chat. We can talk about anything you want to. We can talk about books. We can talk about society. We can talk about Kelly Pippin's beard. I don't care. We can talk about anything. We can talk about how awesome Rippet is.
Moose,
You know, whatever.
Down. Get down. Get down, Moose.
Jerk.
I'm wet.
Dude, he is like... Okay, so this is what my dog is doing right now. So he's got my hand over here, and he's just going... all over my hand.
Yeah, don't want to get to my arms. Bored.
You know, it's funny. Moose is nothing but love. He is a ball of fuzzy love. The problem is, he is a ball of fuzzy love with teeth and super sharp toenails. Yeah. Kelly's beard was scary AF today. Really? Nah, it wasn't scary. It wasn't scary. He's just embracing his inner mountain man. It's fine. I mean, you know Kelly's a born and raised hillbilly anyway. If he's not just, like, covered in 12 inches of hair, something's wrong. You know? He's like Gaston from Beauty and the Beast, for real. Every last inch of him's covered in hair!
Which is funny because he didn't have a beard.
Huh?
It's funny because he didn't have a beard.
Who? Gaston? I know, right?
So it wasn't every inch.
I mean, Gaston's a liar, so it was really
No
not a surprise.
unibrow, no
Yeah.
beard.
Yeah. Glass Helix says, awesome show. Thank you for everything. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Appreciate that. For real, you've got to check out Glass Helix on Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, iTunes, YouTube, all the things. They've got more music videos up that are amazing. They have a song called Dance With Me that is just like, it's a gut punch, man. Like, it's such an impactful song. You guys got to check them out. They're amazing. Okay? We'll see more next week from them. And since you guys are hanging out, nobody's asking any questions, let me throw this out there. You definitely want to check the show out next week because Glass Helix, the whole band, then I have two very, very cool guests lined up for the weeks after that. Very good friend of mine runs a clothing and apparel company, and we're going to interview him and find out all about his process, his products, the social points that he makes, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And I just found out today, this very day, and locked in the interview. Many of you remember Lo Becker from the Becker Band, who was the second person interviewed on this show. His niece is an incredible singer. Like, incredible. Her voice will melt your soul. And I locked in an interview with her. So very, very excited for things to come on the show. Get ready, because some big, big, big changes are going to be coming to Jack's Junkyard after season 1 ends. So keep your eyes open, man. It's going to be a fast ride. With that being said, love you guys all so much. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for all the likes and shares that you're going to definitely do after the show ends, because you love me and you want me to succeed in the world. Thank you guys so much for everyone who's bought my book, who's told your friends about my book, who's shared the commercials, who's done all the things. Your support means the world to me. For real. I don't write my books for anybody but me, but it makes me so happy and just makes me feel so fulfilled when you guys are out there supporting my stuff and talking about it. Thank you guys so much. Okay? With that being said, it'd be super cool if you'd go to my page, Jack Kiesling Books, and write a review. That'd be awesome, right? The more reviews I get, the more I show up in search engines, all of that stuff. Be really, really cool. Thank you guys so much for supporting all the craziness that I put out into the world and all the goofiness that this show is, okay? Be kind to one another. Love on each other. From our hearts to yours. We out.